I think what you're saying is that if things starts happening, there's going to be three metals. It would be gold, silver, and lead.
Yeah.
you're going to get my lead first. I think that's what.
Did you know that in 1933, the U.S. government confiscated much of the gold held by individual U.S. investors? That strikes fear in the hearts of gold and silver stackers even today. And I was talking to my friend Buddy Rumble last week, talking about a crystal ball prediction for where the gold and silver price may go in the future. And I said to him, Buddy, nobody has a crystal ball. And then he tells me, well, Ron, I actually do have a crystal ball. So today we have the pleasure to be joined again by our friend Buddy Rumble from Lafayette, Louisiana, to talk about gold, silver, confiscation, and a number of other very interesting topics. Buddy, welcome to Ron's Basement.
Thank you, Ron. I'm glad to be here again. It was fun the last time, and I love gold. I love silver, the same as you do, and same as our viewers or your viewers. And so we need to touch the topics.
That's right. Spread the word about gold and silver, help as many people as we can. So why don't we start with the confiscation? That's always a hot subject amongst gold and silver stackers. In 1933, the government, Roosevelt, put out an executive order confiscating individual investors' gold. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's very much correct. And a lot of people, you listen to a lot of people, and they say, "Oh, well, what 1%, maybe 2% of the population has gold or that they save, or they as we would say, transfer or fiat currency into real money." And I think about it, and I grew up around a lot of people that went through the depression, the stock market crash in 29, and then you had the depression, and then FDR, as they say, he took away the gold to keep from hoarding, and so eventually they took away the gold out of our money, and there was no more, so people wouldn't hoard. And I hear, a year ago or so, there's some of the legislators back east that compared our president today as the most progressive president since FDR. And I've heard AOC talk about it and other legislators. So I kind of feel, with this CBDCs, I get tongue tied there, but if they want to push that, first they're going to take the cash. People's not going to like that. Maybe more people will buy gold and silver and barter in that. And if they really, really, really want to push that, I could maybe not as much as gold, but the silver could be taken away because there's more silver out there people can own.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. I want to interject here.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm of the opinion that if CBDC does become a reality and they take the cash away, that could potentially, I lean towards believing that would be very good for the price of precious metals, if for no other reason than gold and silver would essentially become the last bastion of financial privacy. If cash is gone, what else would people have to store their value in a private manner than silver and gold? I think there's a reasonably good opportunity for that to be actually very good, very strong for the gold and silver price. All other factors remaining the same. I mean, even without that, I think we have a confluence of positive factors in the world supporting the gold and silver price. But you take away cash, where else do people go if they don't want to be tracked by the government.
And yeah, exactly. You could go to Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is easy to track. You got to put, if you're going to cash it out or use it, you got to bring it back into your account.
Yeah.
And so with the United States government under Biden's was an executive order. I can't remember the exact number. No. What? I'm sorry, it wasn't an executive order. That was that Build Back America last year that they hired 87,000 IRS agents, or it was put in that bill. So how, if you're not planning on doing something about people's money, why do you hire 80, 90,000 more IRS agents?
Yeah, that's a lot. If you to visualize that, that's like a massive college football stadium full of IRS agents. That's interesting. That's kind of a scary visual.
Well, exactly. And if I'm not trying to get political, because I mean, gold and silver collection, or how do you want to word it, is not a political. Just one side does it. I mean, there can be Democrats, Independents, Republicans. Anybody listening to this could be, and I'm not out here to make anybody mad because that's the way you vote or anything like that. But if they wanted to fix the border, they would hire 80 or 90,000 U.S.
border agents.
Yeah, border agents. Exactly. Or
they could almost hold hands and form a human chain along the border.
Right. And if you when I was in the Army, I think the top number they said that was in the U.S. Army, and that would have been back in 2009, 375 or 400,000 members of the U.S. Army. That's how many people we have in our Army. I know they've dropped it down. I haven't kept track of the number, but so that'd be like, that's a quarter. That number is a quarter of what we have in the U.S. Army.
Wow.
And like the Marines, I think their numbers was 195,000. And so I mean, that's an army of people out there.
First Mining Gold is a development company advancing two of the largest gold projects in Canada. Springpole in Ontario and Duparquet, located in Quebec, each already has 5 million ounces of gold reserves, but exploration initiatives are underway at both projects to find even more gold. First Mining is well-financed, has zero debt, and owns an interest in 4 additional Canadian gold development projects.
I think it's interesting that the time we live in now is in many ways very similar to 1933. We're facing economic challenges. And when Roosevelt confiscated the gold, it's my understanding, and it makes sense to the extent that I've studied it, the U.S. government needed to print more money, but they couldn't do that because the money was tied to gold. So they confiscated everybody's gold, or everybody that agreed, and I think most people did at that time. They took everybody's gold, and then shortly thereafter, to enable them to be able to print even more money, they revalued gold. I think went from like $20 an ounce to 32 or 37. Don't quote me on that, but they significantly, and that allowed them to then print dollars and do these work programs that they had going on. It was pretty serious back then too. If I remember correctly, I think there was you could be fined, you could be put in jail if you didn't turn your gold in, and or you could be fined. It's been a few months since I looked at this, but I think it was $10,000 at the time, which in today's money is almost $250,000. Yeah. So it was an interesting thing. I do also think that, and I've heard several people say this, that back then the general population trusted their government much more, and more people held gold. as an investment. More of the general population held it, and they were more trusting of the government and politicians. Whereas now, the people that hold gold and silver in the United States, I mean, heck, we're like what, 1 in 500. We're, it's not that many. And I would venture to say that most silver and gold stackers in the United States aren't big fans of their politicians and their government. That I think it's a different set of and I think in general the U.S. population. So a seizure or confiscation campaign might be met with a different reception. I'll leave it at that.
Right. Well, I think what you're saying is that if things starts happening, there's going to be 3 metals. It would be gold, silver, and lead.
Yeah.
you're going to get my lead first. I think that's what some people would.
I never heard it put that way. All right, buddy, let's move on. You brought up something very interesting to me in a conversation we had earlier in the week regarding the human body. Now, we know we love silver and gold, right? But is it true, buddy, that in my body, there's actually some amount? I know iPhones have silver in them and maybe a little trace amount of gold, but is it true that even here that I'm in a natural born inherent gold and silver stacker?
Well, silver and exactly. I mean, in the big matrix world we live in, like you said, there are cell phones or computers and everything. From what I've done some research on this over some time, and it says about an adult human body weighing 70 kilograms contains about 0.2 milligrams of gold. It's been found that the element plays an important health function, helping to maintain our joints as well as facilitating the transmittal of electric signals throughout our body. That's either a good thing or we live in a matrix. I don't know.
I just want to make one thing clear, buddy. My brain is made of solid gold.
Well, there was a movie called Tank Girl. I was thinking about this the other day, and it had Malcolm McDowell and that Lori Petty, and they had this plastic bottle. It was a dystopian future where the water was short, and it was this plastic bottle with these prongs, and they'd jab it into somebody, it would suck all their water out. And I was thinking, if we could get all the gold out of the human race's body, I don't know how we could do it, Ron. We'd be rich. I don't know.
Well, you're the Louisiana Gold Guru, so I'm going to leave that to you.
Okay.
I can't also help but mention, I don't know if I think they're called memes or whatever. I'm not a big up-to-date techie term guy, but I don't know if you've ever seen that meme of the guy saying I pee gold. So I also pee gold,
I haven't seen that. I'll have to look that one up. I pee gold.
But it's not an episode of Ron's Basement if we don't have one bit of toilet humor thrown in there. So
well, there's a couple of them. Did you ever get the Janet in the box?
Oh yeah, Janet in the box. Yeah. Well, let me break that out, because we know that our good friend Jerome, he's in a box, right?
Yeah, that's right.
He's painted into a corner in a box. He's got a recession on one side and a inflation on the other, and it's facing very difficult. But now, yes, we're proud to introduce the latest box. It's the Janet and the Yellen. Janet Yellen in a box, because she's in a box too. Same problem. It's interesting that the Jerome Powell box fits nicely inside of Janet's box, but I'm gonna leave that to everyone's imagination.
Yeah, well, I was thinking that them two together sitting in the boxes, what kind of love child that would look like.
Here, I can show you. Here, I have it. I need to send this to my friend, but there, that's their little unicorns come out. Make believe. Unicorn fart dust, right?
Yeah,
make believe money.
Yeah, Janet and Jerome.
Yeah, yeah.
They're the ones that's running everything, I guess.
So, buddy, when we look at the price of gold and silver, you brought up another great point earlier in the week. It can get frustrating because we know the paper price is extremely manipulated by the COMEX and the LBMA. The real price that we pay at the coin shop is different with premiums. But notwithstanding that, just the price in general, it's generally accepted, has been controlled or hampered or manipulated, however we want to say it. You brought up a great question. You want to introduce the question, and then we can talk about.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would hope. I mean, this is not good for the people that just begin stacking and they want to collect. But I would hope that you look at De Beers in England with the diamonds. You know, they manipulate it, but they manipulate the diamonds up high. And I would think, I mean, my original background was in the trash business, and that would be the closest thing to the diamonds mines. But because everything you do in trash or would be in the diamonds. You have diesel engines. You got, all this equipment that's run by diesel. You have labor. You have post closures, like in a landfill funds. You know, I would think that the diamond miners would be in control of the price. Why is it the market? You know, they drive the price. Why isn't the miners saying, okay, I've got X amount of tons of gold or ounces of gold. This is what we're selling it for. And
so your question is the gold and silver miners. Why are they subjected to subjected to the COMEX and the LBMA? I think
exactly.
Yeah, and it's an interesting, and I think oil drillers are in the same situation.
Yes.
It's an interesting, and I've heard, I've talked to a number of the top mining company CEOs, and they say, like, they don't have any marketing expense because they don't get to set the price of there's just a market that they sell into. They aren't necessarily selling products like Samsung or Apple or anybody else. So that's one benefit. They don't have any marketing expense, but the drawback is they don't have any control over the price that they get. Now, some CEOs, including Keith Neumeyer from First Majestic Silver, who many people in the silver and gold area have a huge amount of respect for. He's outspoken, big proponent of silver and gold. He will hold back, and has on several occasions, selling silver into the market when he thinks the price is too low. And there's been a couple gold mining CEOs that have done that as well. But I think what it boils down to is it's number one, it's tradition, right? That's the way it's always been done. It's a gold and silver are universal markets. I mean, they are worldwide markets, right? So there has to do. Yeah, diamonds too, right? No, but I think one of the issues we have with gold and silver is I think there's a lot more silver and gold mines in the world than there are diamond mines.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You probably have, and then when you throw on top of that, probably millions of small independent miners in South America and Africa, artisanal type miners, that there's just this flood, I would say flood for lack of a better term, volume that goes in. And really the only way for it to get priced is through a market. It's frustrating. And again, I've heard Keith Neumeyer, a couple months back, and correct me, anyone out there watching right now, if I'm wrong, but I heard Keith Neumeyer mention, he said, I wish we could have like a co-op amongst the silver mining companies so that we could sell the silver into the market. And with silver, what they're talking about happening, as we're in a situation right now where there's much more silver being demanded every year than's being mined, is that what a lot of people foresee happening are the large automobile companies, the large electronics companies, the Samsungs and the Apples and the Teslas of the world, going directly to the miners and saying, hey, we want to buy X number of ounces of silver, like getting under like a contract for like 5 years saying you'll supply us with, X million ounces of silver over the next. So it may be coming. And I'm giving a long-winded answer to this as well. I think the other thing that's interesting is the fact that the BRICS countries and the other countries that are aligned with them, they're starting their own exchanges now as well for gold and silver.
Yeah.
And they've been very vocal about the point that they don't think that the price that's being determined by the COMEX and the LBMA is the accurate price.
I agree too. I think that the only way for us to, as investors in gold and silver, that helps us is the reserve prices, or the what you're paying above the spot. I think that's another way that if I owned a coin shop, or if I was a bullion dealer, I would increase my reserve price on that per ounce.
Yeah,
that's what I would do. I wouldn't cut it. I would increase it, and that would eventually, I think the investors that invest in paper gold would see, well, I'm buying paper gold at, let's say, $2,000 an ounce today, but the reserve price is $2,400. Just as an example. But
right.
Why am I not making as much money? It'd be better for me to hold it physically. So that's what I see. But
it's interesting. I know of a coin shop owner who's been in the business for 40, 50 years. And he is loading up right now. He is loading up on inventory right now. And, and he's survived 40, 50 years in that business. And he's a good guy. He's an honest guy. He knows what he's doing. And from what I hear, he's loading up on inventory right now. So I think we could have.
I kind of think, I feel in my crystal ball.
Hey, you didn't let me introduce. Hold on. Oh, wait.
My bad.
We were leading right into it, buddy. But we're talking about, I understand that my friend, Buddy Rumble, right? I had to say it one time. The Louisiana Gold Guru actually has a crystal ball and wants to offer a prediction for what we may see in the metals. Buddy, is it true you have a crystal ball?
I do have a crystal ball. It's a little crystal ball.
Oh yeah, you got a little ball.
A little crystal ball. I've probably got a bigger one somewhere that my mom owns or something like that. But my little crystal ball says, I think, if I'm reading it right, because there's even a little gold spot in it somewhere. I don't know if your camera can pick that up.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think it says.
Now wait, buddy, you want to hold off on your prediction and then make this like a subscription deal where, if people want to send you $100, they can watch the rest of the video, or should we just do it for free?
Let's do it for free.
Okay.
Your listeners are. They're your listeners, our listeners for today, but I
don't charge them. I don't charge them for anything, but I hope they realize the value they're getting right now.
Right,
the crystal ball.
Background music. I lost my gold here. Let's see. Oh, all right, we found it here. But I'm thinking that everybody's going to have a chance this summer to buy a little cheaper gold, a little cheaper silver. I'm kind of thinking June, July, we'll probably go down to $1,900 an ounce in gold, and 21 an ounce on silver. That's just my feeling. I don't know.
That's. And then how do you see the rest of the year playing out? There's another 6 months after that. Any thoughts on that?
I kind of think that I think towards the end of the year things are going to get really bad. See, we're already in May, and I think you're going to see they're going to battle out this debt ceiling, and the Republicans will cave and they'll give everything just so they don't default. And I think you'll see the gold drop a little bit, and the And then I think they're still holding on to keeping that interest rate up, but I think it's good. You're going to see some more banks collapse, and I think I kind of feel 2,400 maybe by July, or not July, but January of 2025. Yeah, we're going into 24. I'm sorry, 24. I think you'll see it up about 2,400 on the gold. And silver, I think we'll probably hit 30, 32 by then. That's just my feeling.
That's your crystal ball prediction.
Well, you still got to feel. You got to get that gold that's in here into and read it. I guess So yeah, that's the ball prediction.
All right. Well, I wrote those numbers down. 2,432. We'll when we do our Christmas party live from the basement, we'll hold you to that, my friend. Right, that would be good. I mean, that would be. I think a lot of people would be happy with that progress. I hear some people saying 3,000 by year end. I like I like what the crystal ball is telling you, because I do think, I was thinking the same thing this morning. I thought, well, what if, look, most likely this debt ceiling situation is going to get resolved.
It will.
They're playing it up, right? I mean,
as they would say, saber rattling between the parties.
Yeah. And how's that gonna? But gold is pretty darn smart. So I wouldn't say that gold lately has been benefiting a ton, pardon the pun, from the debt ceiling, debt limit situation. So right. I wouldn't think that that when it gets resolved that we're going to see a huge drop, but if peace breaks out in Ukraine and the debt ceiling gets resolved all in the same week, we could see
lose the inflation and reduction in the interest rate, and they'd pay off the U.S. debt and all. And the other things in the housing market go back up, and people can buy cars and what is it, cats and dogs living together and happy. And
that's right. And Janet Yellen runs a marathon. That'll be the cherry on top.
Exactly. Yeah. So many things out there. We're just heading for something, but something that we was talking about the 1933 gold confiscation or the gold robbery, whatever, and we was talking about people having confidence in the government, and they went ahead and turned their gold over. A lot of the Depression era people that I grew up around, they had the gold, they had the silver. They maybe turned a bunch of it in, but I can remember, like I said, these businessmen that I grew up, they had safes full of that stuff, and a lot of that was pre-1933 gold and silver and everything. I can remember even a surrogate grandparents that they were like grandparents that grew up through the Depression, and they were, if you said anything bad about FDR, you would burn in hell, and 1980s, the woman that was like a grandmother to me, she when gold and silver was going up and everything, she brings out this big box or shoebox of silver and gold coins, and my dad helped her sell them. So This was stuff that she'd been saving since the 20s and the 30s. So she believed the sun and set in FDR, but she still had those.
Well, buddy, let's clarify things. I'm sure anyone that had that, they just forgot they had it when it was time.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, that's true. That's true.
Well, one thing we're not going to forget is to say thank you, buddy, for joining us today. On behalf of all the viewers of Ron's Basement, you shared some great information with us. I think we had some fun and a few laughs as well. So on behalf of all the viewers, thank you. And we'll catch up with you again in another couple weeks and see what else we can provide to the audience.
Yes, I'll try to get down to my local coin shop guy, which is a good guy. That's the big key, is you having a good gold shop guy. And so, and I'll kind of get some ideas on what he's experiencing, and maybe we can share with that too. So
okay, that sounds like a great.
I'll talk to him and see what his thoughts are too. But there's one thing I do want to add. You're wearing the red shirt today.
Yes.
Are you a Star Trek? Are you a Star Trek fan?
I've never been a Star Trek fan. I won't lie.
Well, when Captain Kirk, if you can research this, when Captain Kirk beamed down with Dr. McCoy and Spock, they always had the red shirts. They tell, hey, Lieutenant Donovan, go over here and do this, and the red shirts always died, and you need to get you a gold shirt like Captain Kirk, so you can be Captain Ron.
Captain Ron, yeah. I do have a yellow version of this shirt, but I don't know, for some reason I feel like I do better connecting with my audience when I wear this, this shirt. It's become a real habit of mine. So I'll see what I can do. I tell you what, when gold hits a new all-time high, buddy, I'll wear the gold shirt and specifically mention it's for you in one of the videos. Okay, well, just don't beam down on any planets with Captain Kirk, because the red shirts always died. I don't know how many listeners or viewers you have that are Star Trek fans, but no, Ron, don't do that. Don't beam down. So you gave me one more thing to add to my list of worries. Oh well. That's all right. Thanks, buddy. Take care, and we'll see you soon. That sounds good. I'm looking forward to it.